We live in a world obsessed with the narrative arc, the climb, the victory, the grand reveal. We build our lives around these peaks, the promotion, the perfect relationship, the finished project. And when we reach the summit, there is always this moment of deceptive calm, a breath held too long, a silence that feels less like peace and more like a profound, echoing void. We are constantly told that success is the destination, that stability is the reward for discipline. But what happens when the structure holding up your life, the career, the relationship, the routine, doesn't just shake, but simply dissolves? What if all the victories you fought for were only temporary staging grounds for an even deeper emptiness? The human spirit craves anchors. We need the visible proof of our effort. The black oak sword on the mantelpiece, the trophy from the battle, the curated photo album that proves we made it. These objects become proxies for self-worth. They tell us who we were or who we pretended to be. But sometimes, life strips away every anchor. Sometimes the greatest confrontation isn't with a foe outside your door, but with the sudden, stark reality of what remains when everything else is gone. Think about the feeling of being suspended between two worlds, the wild necessity of survival and the seductive comfort of civilization. This was the experience of Takezō and Matahaki in an era defined by chaos, a time where the lines between law and lawlessness were drawn not with ink, but with blood. They found themselves cocooned within a fragile domesticity. The warmth of the hearth, the scent of sake, the routine of daily life, it was a temporary reprieve from the brutal instability surrounding them. This comfort, however, came at a cost. It demanded that they suspend their true selves, becoming guests in a beautiful illusion. The story teaches us that survival is not merely about physical endurance, it's about emotional discipline. The initial ease and deceptive warmth of Oko's household represented the ultimate comfort trap. It was a place where one could be seen, admired, but also fundamentally defined by others' expectations, the role of the guest, the admirer, the stable fixture. The need to belong is perhaps humanity's most powerful engine. We crave the feeling that we are necessary, useful, and accepted. But when acceptance becomes conditional, dependent on maintaining a facade or upholding a narrative, it ceases to be nourishment and becomes a cage. This echoes our modern struggle with the illusion of stability. We build elaborate lives around external validation, the job title, the follower count, the perfect family portrait. These things are our black oak swords. They feel solid, defining, almost sacred. Yet, like the life in that marsh house, this stability is fragile, built on shared routines and unspoken agreements. The true challenge arrives when the external structure collapses, when the success fades, or the relationship shifts, or the career path closes down. We are left standing in a sudden, profound void, surrounded by the ghosts of what we thought mattered. Takezō's journey is defined by this transition, from an aggressive masculinity fueled by survival to a quiet reckoning with emptiness. He was initially driven by raw physical force, a creature of extremes who knew no moderation. But even his brutal victory over Tema, the freebooter, left him exhausted and strangely detached. The high of violence is intoxicating. It gives purpose, it provides immediate validation. We all experience that post-achievement adrenaline rush, the sense of having solved the problem, won the battle, or completed the goal. But as the dust settles, what remains? A profound silence. The ultimate test came in the morning after the storm. The house was empty. The artifacts, the trinkets, the accumulated symbols of their temporary life were gone. All that remained by the water pipe was a simple, unassuming comb. This single object became the crucible for his self-definition. It wasn't the sword, nor the blood, nor even the memory of the conflict. It was this small, discarded piece of polished wood. The comb represented not power or victory, but the residue of casual intimacy, the unburdened, mundane reality that exists beneath all the drama. The lesson is one of disciplined departure. True self-mastery isn't found by fighting harder for what you have, it's found by accepting what is absent. It requires recognizing that your worth cannot be measured by the objects you accumulate or the enemies you defeat. The moment you realize that nothing, no structure, no relationship, no victory can truly anchor you, you are finally free. The comb was a reminder of an ordinary life continuing without him, a gentle, persistent whisper that said, "Move on. To live fully is to embrace the disciplined clarity of leaving things behind, not out of defeat, but because your spirit demands a new horizon."